Okay, y'all, we've touched on just about every category at this point. Let's check a new one off the list. For today's deep dive, we're going to be focusing on my favorite tumbling skill in the whole world. So let's get into the do's and don'ts of the standing full. And while I can now say that this is a skill I'm landing 10 out of 10 times, it took me a good 3 years to land more than like one per practice. So hopefully I can give you a tip or two that'll speed up that process in your life. Okay, so before I even break down the technique of this standing full, I'm going to give you a few drills that really did make all the difference for me. Well, less so drills and more so conditioning, but bear with me. Best advice anybody ever gave me as I was learning this skill: go to Walmart, get a cheap pair of ankle weights, do 10 standing tucks a day with those around your ankles and 10 more with those around your arms. It's a game changer, I swear. Okay, I guess we can actually break this thing down. Whether we're stepping or not stepping, this bend before we jump is the first checkpoint that we're looking at. If this isn't a skill you're crazy confident in, it's very likely your backswing will be so aggressive and it'll cause your chest to drop. Once you've done that, you're already starting at a disadvantage. Essentially, you're creating another quarter of flip that you're gonna have to get around. So my rule in that backswing is that my shoulders need to be in line with my toes. Now let's talk about this jump. This is hands down the most aggressive and explosive portion of this skill. As I'm coming up, I'm pushing through my toes at an up and back angle of about 45 degrees. I spin right. So for this next portion, just flip-flop the directional terms if you spin left. Okay, so I'm getting off of the ground as quick as possible and I'm focusing on two portions of my body: my right elbow and my left hip. I'm driving my left hip to the ceiling as aggressive as possible, and I'm getting my arms up quick, making sure that my right elbow is pointed out to the wall. Notice how at this position, I'm not yet driving my toes over. I'm intentionally getting into that open body position so that I'm able to snap into the spin once I've done that. Once I've gotten into that open position, I'm essentially facing the side. I'm closing at the hips into that pike or hollow position and driving my toes to the back wall. I've always had more of a laid out standing full than a tucked or a piked one, but either way the concept's still the same. At the last portion of this skill, I like to take my left hand and wrap it around the back of my thighs. This just helps me complete that spin quicker and get my feet on the ground. And while I tend to have a more naturally laid out standing full, I'm noting that the last few seconds of this skill need to be piked if I want to get my feet down on the ground. So as I'm piking, I'm thinking land on my heels and not on my toes. That way I'm making sure I'm not shooting out too early and crunching my ankles. Once my feet are down, I'm pulling through the center of my upper back to get the rest of my chest up. And there you have it for the do's and don'ts of a standing full. This skill takes reps, and if it's one you really want to get consistent, you're just gonna have to keep throwing them. But I promise that if you're okay with landing on your face for a few months, it'll eventually click and you'll be on your feet in no time. I hope this was helpful for somebody in some way. And as always, thanks again for letting me blabber about cheerleading.